Peace and love, family. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason, back for another Sunday Hope and Healing session where we offer encouragement, support, hope, and actual healing, utilizing, offering, some wisdom, knowledge, insights, and understanding of things that I've been blessed to encounter and uncover during the course of my journey, and also provide healing utilizing a methodology of healing referred to as transcending the matrix, which is a simultaneously a spiritual and holistic approach to healing that actually addresses the root cause of different issues that a person might be feeling physically, emotionally, or experiencing physically, emotionally, mentally, and certainly spiritually as well. And here today, it's the day before Christmas. It's Christmas Eve 2023. And I'm grateful for this time. I hope that you all are all enjoying your Christmas Eve. Jennifer Bliss, greetings to you. And shout out to my dad, Lance Thomason, who's celebrating his natal day. And my sister from another mister, Kathia, who is celebrating her natal day as well. I'm broadcasting from my car, as you can see. It's actually kind of raining a little bit. I'm sitting in the car outside of the place where my niece is actually getting her braids done for Christmas. My niece is visiting the country from South Africa. This is the first time that I've seen her since she was, well, today is the second time I saw her Friday. But in general, this trip is the second time, this is the first time I've seen her since she was 3 years old in 2003, this time of year in 2003. Trisha C., greetings to you and Merry Christmas to you as well. And so I stepped out and excused myself. I'm here having some time with her and her sister, my other niece, who actually lives here in South Florida. I'm out of town. I'm away from home and out of town for the holidays to be able to have this time with my niece, who again rarely see. And I'm on duty, taking her to get her hair braided, and that's going on outside. We've been here for the last 4 hours for that process, and it's likely to take a little while longer. So that's why I'm broadcasting it from here. Curly Conscious King, greetings to you, my brother. Good to see you today, and much love, light, and blessings in abundance to you as well this Christmas season. And so, Bradley, hey there, Bradley. It's good to see you. Merry Christmas to you as well. And so our kind of focal point for today is, I don't know how long this is going to be today. I put check in. I didn't put brief check in. I'm intending to not be here a full hour. I know we were about an hour and 20 minutes the last 2 weeks when we were doing that kind of two-part series on four keys to resolve any problem, or four keys of light to resolve any problem. For those of you who weren't here, those four keys are love, acceptance, forgiveness, and appreciation, or gratitude. So I encourage you to check out the two previous weeks' broadcasts for more on that. But today, this Christmas Eve, the eve of Christmas, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing a lot as it relates to the holiday season in the context of how we tend to celebrate it today. But our focal point for today, in terms of today's Sunday Hope and Healing session, is really dealing with um, the Christ that transcends religion and consumerism. Right? Um, so much of what, and especially in this post-COVID world, I see it even more. Uh, it's more more and more materially focused, and that's driven by a lot of things that don't really have anything to do necessarily with the essence of Christmas. I'm not in any way knocking the gift giving or the gift giving that includes financial expenditures. That speaks to, um, on some level, something significant about Christmas in terms of giving from one's self to bless somebody that you love and care about. All right. Maybe even making sacrifices to do so. Uh, there's something of spiritual value in that for sure. Um, there's the minister in me talking though. As wonderful as that is, the great significance of this holy day, which is the essence of the word holiday, is holy day. The essence of this holy day that is Christmas is Christ entering into the world. In the context of Jesus being born in a manger in Bethlehem and all of the beauty that is a result of that, I can't imagine where my life would be if Jesus had never been born. I can't even begin to imagine it. I can't imagine where my life would be had I not developed a personal relationship with Jesus. All right. I know that there are people who are check into this broadcast who are Christian. I know that there's some who are not. There are people who do the training and who experience transcending the matrix treatments, who come from all different backgrounds and religious backgrounds included. But I want to kind of get on this thing from a little bit, to some degree, in ways that you might have heard before, and some degrees maybe a little bit different than others. And if you think about, kind of the context of Christmas is not all that long. It was quite a few years, but not all that long in terms of the course of human history. Not all that long before the first Christmas, when Jesus was born in that manger in Bethlehem. There was a context. Bradley, I don't know if you're still here. If you're still here, Bradley, please say something in the comments, because I want to make a context. I want to put that in the context of Hanukkah. Christmas has to be considered in the context of Hanukkah, which is a Jewish holiday. The context of Hanukkah, for those who know or for those who may not know, is that there was an evil ruler by the name of Antiochus IV. Antiochus IV basically kind of like made it illegal to be a Jew. He really created a very hard time for those who were Jewish. He would go massacring people, just massacring people, even pregnant mothers. He would. I don't want to get into the atrocities that he performed. But killing whole families and watching the parents, making the parents watch as their children were killed before killing the parents themselves as well. And one of the other things that he did was he went and desecrated the temple. Okay. And there's a spiritual that says, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. When I was a student in college, I remember the choir singing, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. It was a part of the custom that there was supposed, this is before the time of electricity, keep in mind. So the light that was given off at night was from lamps, but the lamps weren't lamps that you plug into the wall. The lamps were lamps where there was a wick in um, in oil, okay, and these lamps were supposed to be kept going ceaselessly, right? There's never supposed to be a time where the lamps weren't burning. In other words, the lamps were the giver of the light. In other words, the temple was to always be giving off light. There was always to be light in the temple. Now, that temple is actually symbolic because you and I, our bodies are temples. Our bodies are temples of the spirit that lives within these bodies, right? If you will. And so the idea is that the light is always present in the body. The Jesus whose birthday we're celebrating tomorrow said that the eye is the window of the soul. Let your eye be single. In other words, let your eye be whole. See rightly, see righteously, see clearly, see in a way that transcends the matrix of third dimensional beliefs of separation and limitation. See beyond the false evidence that appears real. See beyond all of this chaos and confusion that exists in the world in which you find yourself living. See beyond all that and see the greater truth, the transcendent truth that is beyond all that. And when you're able to do that, your whole body will be filled with light, right? The temple is to always have light in it. The reality is that the light is there. We need to continuously make sure that that light is active and alive, that we don't let our light grow dim, that the essence of who we are, we have these physical bodies, but the physical bodies are not our only bodies. It's not the only aspect of our bodies, right? It's not the only body we have, I should say. Okay. We also have a body of light that needs to be activated within us and needs to be operating within us. And so even the thing with the symbolism of keeping the light in the temple continuously. Well, when Antiochus Epiphanes, he went into the temple and desecrated it, went destroying all kinds of things and destroyed the oil, the vials of oil that caused the lamps to continue to burn, to continue to give off light. And there was only one vial that wasn't destroyed, and it was only enough oil available that was left available that wasn't destroyed to keep that lamp burning for one day, to keep the light burning for one day, right? But it took 8 days to get some fresh oil to the temple. And yet, although there was only enough oil for that lamp to keep burning, for the light to keep going for one day, the miracle of Hanukkah is that it nonetheless burned for 8 days until there was fresh oil that was brought for those lamps to be kept burning. Well, this was the context in which Jesus, Yeshua, was born. And as you may know, the angel, saying peace on earth, goodwill towards the folk who live here, right? Who live on this planet. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. The angel that spoke, that gave what his name would be, indicating that his presence on the planet is the embodiment of God with us humans, that there is more going on here than what meets the eye. And he had a whole teaching that he ended up being ultimately killed for, right? He didn't just come and die. He didn't just be born and then die, be killed, and then rise again on the third day. He had a whole life that he lived. He had a whole ministry that he was engaged in, and he was faithful to the ministry to a point where he was seen as a heretic. He was seen in all of these negative ways by the folk who were caught up in religiosity, right? And as a result, they took him out because he was a disruptor. That's the reality of the matter. He was a disruptor, and that's why he was killed, because he was challenging the system. He was challenging the system. You know, there can be consequences for challenging this system, because there are people who benefit from the system. There are people who benefit from you being locked, from you being imprisoned within your own mind. There are people who benefit from you being disempowered. There are people who benefit from the calcification of your pineal gland that keep you from being able to see things clearly, spiritually. There are people who benefit from your disempowerment, right? And so he was fighting for the small person, right? He was challenging, the systems that be, to keep disempowering people. And so that created anger. He was performing miracles, and that created challenges and issues for people who wanted to go by the route that they were going, you know. And so I definitely want to honor him and highlight him on this Christmas, and at the same time, because Christmas is about Christmas is about Christ in the earth, about Christ being born, right? And so I want to extend to you, whoever you are and wherever you are, to create a safe space for Christ to be and through you, right? Now, your circumstances might not be quite where you'd like them to be. You might not be in a financially preferable position right now. You might have some things going on just from a earthly, visceral level, where things might not be quite where you would like for them to be. There might be some things that you might have going on with a work situation or a family situation or a health situation or a relationship situation, whatever kind of situation you might have going on. You might have some concerns about things that are happening in the world, things that are taking place politically. Okay. And all of these things are part of the changing fortunes of time, if you will. But in the midst of all of that, in this season, I want to encourage you, as we're honoring Christmas tomorrow, and in some places of the world it's already Christmas right now. As you're celebrating Christmas, celebrate the birth or the rebirth of the divinity that is seeking to express itself through you, right? What is the best gift that you can give to your loved ones? The best gift that you can give to your loved ones isn't something you can buy in a store. It's not something that you can log into Amazon and find there, right? It's not something that you can have shipped. I'm not knocking the purchasing of gifts. And maybe you're in a blessed financial position and can do some things materially for people. Thank God if you can. But if you're not, even if you're not,
Don't let that worry you or make you feel in any way less than. Because regardless of what your financial situation is, or regardless of what all of the advertising might be, the best gift that you can give is an activated Christ showing up in and through you in the lives of the people that you care about. What does that look like? What does that look like? Part of what it looks like is you choosing to see people through the eyes of love and compassion. Part of how that looks like is you having a little bit more patience with people. Part of how that looks like is you being forgiving. Part of how that looks like is you being generous in your perspective of people. Being generous in your perspective of people. And that doesn't mean that these are people who have to stay an active part of your life. Some people you might not ever deal with directly again in life, but maybe how you deal with them in your heart is though they might have crossed a line with you. No, it may be appropriate for you to establish some healthy boundaries. You nonetheless pray for them, want the best for them, want them to not receive a tit for a tat, to not receive hardship coming their way, but you pray for their eyes to be open, for their heart to be touched. I'm telling you, there's some things that I will never in life do again because because how God touched my heart regarding the thing. And so how my heart was touched caused me to change my mind. And because of that, created change in behavior. Right? And so on this Christmas, as you're, around the tree, or if you're with family, while you're exchanging gifts, while you're trying to travel from one place to another, concerned about whatever you might be concerned about, try to remember the real essence of this time, the real essence of this season. I'm a true believer in Santa Claus. I'm a minister and a healer. A person who's very much in touch with things from what some might call supernatural, what others might call metaphysical or beyond the physical. Really, it's two words that mean the exact same thing. It's just a different languaging. That is very much me through and through. And I believe in Santa Claus. I believe in Santa Claus because I've been Santa Claus. But when you look at really the essence of what Santa Claus is, Santa Claus isn't a person. Santa Claus isn't simply a person. Santa Claus is a spirit, the spirit of Santa Claus. All right. There was a gentleman who many years ago in Europe, I don't even remember what country in Europe now, off the top of my head, felt like a way that could truly honor Christ would be at this time that honors the birth of Christ. To children who are struggling and poor, to give them some gift, to bring some gift to them without the need to get credit for being the giver of the gift, but to be able to do so from just a pure, genuine heart space. And he would sneak into the houses through people's chimneys and leave a gift for a child in that home, and then sneak back out undetected, just from a genuine, pure-hearted space of wanting to give a little gift and bring a little joy and happiness to the hearts of these children who maybe didn't always even have a meal. a hot meal readily available for them, right? And so to me, I'll never not believe in Santa Claus. At 52 years old, I still believe in Santa Claus, and I will always believe in Santa Claus because I believe in the spirit of giving from a place that isn't about you, right? Giving from a place that isn't about you or even you getting credit for it. It's giving from a genuine heart space. Greetings, Reverend Danny. Good to see you in the space today. And congratulations on yesterday. Giving from a place of purity without expectation of what you're going to get in return, right? I think that's a place we should all be giving from all the time, ideally, if we're going to be serious about being spiritually focused people, right? And for the receiver of the gift, as you're receiving gifts, yes, celebrate the wonderful things that you're receiving as gifts. If you're receiving some gifts for Christmas, and yet keep the focus of the giver of the gift is greater than the gift itself, right? Keep the focus on appreciate the gift, yes, but appreciate the giver of the gift, the space that the giver of the gift is giving from, right? And that's in all things, the gifts that are underneath the Christmas tree, and whatever natural gifts and abilities that you might have, whatever blessings that you might have, and you are very blessed. Some of you all I know personally. Some of you I have relationships with. Some of you who are watching this, we've never met. All that you know about me is what you've seen on these broadcasts or something that you may have seen on social media. But what I do know is whoever you are, you're a blessed soul. You have so many more blessings that you could ever count. So many more blessings than you can ever count. Remember one of those 4 keys to resolve any problem without dealing with the last 2 weeks? One of those was appreciation, which is all just a matter of perspective. In any moment, every one of us, I heard a pastor say one time years ago when I was in Houston, in any moment, everybody has something that they could either laugh about or cry about. Really, both. In every moment, you never know what struggle somebody might be dealing with or what somebody might be going through. And your struggle that you might be going through at any point might seem like a lifetime, might seem like it's been going on forever, but it's just temporary. This is just going to pass. This light affliction is just for a small moment. It's just a small speck in time. It might seem like the end of the world in a moment, but it's only temporary. I promise you. I promise you, it's only temporary. And God sees what you're dealing with, what you're going through, and is there for you. There are angels dispatched on your behalf. And sometimes it's a matter of you having eyes to see beyond your circumstances. You know, some of you have loved ones who've made their transition, and it's hard for you to deal with their transition. And in the meantime, while you're having a hard time with the fact that they're not here, and they may be from the other side wanting you to know, I can say with confidence, wanting you to know that they're okay, that they're okay. Their greatest desire is for you to be okay, right? You loved this person or love this person because God planted them in your life. is a gift in your life. And even though they might leave, maybe of their own volition, maybe because of circumstances, maybe because it was their time to discontinue their inhalation exhalation process. Remember what I said earlier about valuing the giver of the gift more than the gift itself? What you loved about that person was you felt a spark of God in them that spoke to you in a unique way, that spoke to your soul, that blessed you, that you felt blessed by. But it wasn't just them. They were just the gift. They weren't the giver of the gift. They were actually the bearer of the gift. Ooh, I felt that. They were the bearer of the gift. They were the bearer of the gift. The gift was the love that flowed through them, the warmth that flowed through them, the wisdom or the insight that flowed through them. But the giver of the gift is the one from whom it came, the source of the light, the source of the love, the source of the wisdom, the source of the compassion, the source of the understanding, the source of the comfort, the source of the provision, the protection, the source of the soulfulness, right? Boy, I'm wanting to go on the whole thing with that. But I don't have too much battery in my phone, and my car just turned off. I didn't turn it all the way on. The engine wasn't running. I just turned the battery on to kind of get some juice in my phone. But the car has been off for a little while now. I don't have too much juice left. But what I do want to say, and what I hope enters into your listening and into your hearing and into your receiving, goes beyond your ear gate and really lands in your heart, and even beyond that, gets in your bone marrow, is that wherever you are, whatever life is presenting you with, wherever you find yourself in whatever situation or circumstance is going on, that you are loved in a way that defies my ability to adequately articulate or your ability to adequately comprehend. But if you can at least endeavor to pose the question to yourself, just how loved could I possibly be? Just how much might I actually be cherished beyond what I actually even understand? If you can maybe pose the questions in the midst of all that I seemingly don't have, how can I show up as a blessing in somebody else's life? The richest people are not the ones who have the most. That same pastor that I referred to earlier about I forgot what the statement was now that I heard him. There are several that are coming to my mind. I don't remember which particular thing I quoted just a moment ago. I don't know if it was about not taking instructions from your circumstances or whatever the case was. But another thing that I heard this particular gentleman say was he's met some poor people in his life. People who all they had was money. They had a lot of money, but that was all they had. And he found them to be poor because money was all they had. It was all they yearned for. And ultimately, not really that satisfying. And so, this isn't that particular pastor speaking. This is me speaking right now. And they're not my original thoughts either, what I'm about to share. I don't remember where I first heard this, but the measure of how rich you are isn't how much you have or how much you can get, but it's how much you give. It's how much you give. Jesus, Yeshua, said of this lady who was destitute, She gave 2 mites, which is significantly less than a penny. He said this lady gave more than anybody else did because everybody else gave from their plenty. She gave all that she had. She gave all that, pardon me, she gave all that she had. And so he identified her as giving more than anybody else. And so there might be some material things that you can give this Christmas season. There might be some gifts that you can give your children or your parents or your siblings or, whoever else of a material nature, and they may very well appreciate that. But endeavor to focus from the heart space and see how much you can give of you, how much you can give of yourself. Where are opportunities where you can serve? Where are opportunities where you can make somebody else's load a little bit lighter? This might be somebody in your family. This might be a friend. This might be a soul whom you've never met. What opportunities might there be to help somebody who's not as fortunate as you are? What opportunities are there that you can give a listening ear to somebody who's in pain? What opportunities are you able to give somebody who might be overlooked by society? Somebody who might be on the side of the street with a sign or asking for money. And a lot of people drive by and ignore them. How might you be able to give a little more of yourself and actually spend some time with a person like that? Get to know their story. Let them know that they're seen, that you see them. You see them beyond their circumstance. You see them beyond the mistakes that they've made. You see them beyond how other people have seen them, and quite frankly, a lot of people choosing not to even see them, not to look their way, because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want something to be triggered inside of them by even acknowledging this person standing by the side of the road, or this person who's, maybe made some choices that weren't maybe the best choices with their life, and are dealing with some difficult consequences. How can you give a little more of yourself, and in a way that doesn't make you superior to the person that you're giving to? A Course in Miracles talks about those who temporarily have more giving to those who temporarily have less, right? It's all, like I was saying earlier, it's all temporary. Regardless of what your circumstances might be, it's temporary. There have been times where you've had more than somebody else, and there have been times where maybe that somebody else has had more than you. And in one moment, that might be money. In another moment, it might be hope. In another moment, it might be a smile. I'll say to you what a friend of mine in college and I always said to one another whenever we would depart one another's company. If you see somebody that doesn't have a smile, give them one of yours. If you see somebody that doesn't have a smile, give them one of yours. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, and it shifted a person's mood. It didn't take much. I can't tell you, and I'm not saying this to say I'm, this wonderful person or anything. I'm not. I'm just, I might be a little bit different than most people. I've got my own quirks and nuances. I see the world differently, but I'm certainly no more special than anybody else. Okay. I'm certainly no more special than anybody else is. And I don't want you to think otherwise. Okay. But there have been a number of occasions where I've been blessed to be able to just offer somebody a smile, and it made a difference in their life. Even somebody who might have a little funky little attitude at the grocery store. And I tell them that story. I had a friend in college, whenever we would leave one another's presents, would say to the other, if you see somebody that doesn't have a smile, give them one of yours. And I'm smiling as I say it. And guess what? Their frown turns upside down. They start smiling. Only one time in all of these years that I've been doing that has a person not ended up receiving the smile and a smile coming to their face, and me being able to actually visually see. And I'm not talking about people giving a fake smile. I'm talking about I can see that a person's feeling a little lighter, right? The person's feeling a little bit more encouraged. You know, it doesn't take a lot to help lighten a person's load. Sometimes folk have a lot going on and they need a lot. But a lot of times, just situations where we can do little things that can help lighten the person's load. That's a wonderful gift that you can give. And the more you can do that, and the more people that you're able to do that, the more of a gift that you're able to be, or the more you're able to be a carrier of the gift, a deliverer of the gift, and let your light so shine so that others might feel a purity of heart in you and see the actions and behaviors that you engage in from that heart-centered space. And they observe the light in you, and they want some of that for themselves. And you let them know that that's just God showing up through you. And God can show up through them in the same way. And maybe you can share some insights that might be a blessing to them, might be able to help them to be able to grow closer to the Christ that transcends Christmas and transcends consumerism and transcends religion, right? Jesus wasn't trying to start a religion. And I'm saying that as a minister. He was not trying to start a religion. He was a Jew, which, by the way, I do not understand anti-Semitic Christians. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Um, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. Just like I can't understand Christians who are racist. I don't get it. My brain cannot compute that. Does not compute. Does not compute. I can't make that make sense. But if you look at his ministry, so much of what he's quoted as saying in the Bible, he's just quoting the Torah. That's real talk. A lot of the stuff in red in the King James version of the Bible that are Jesus's words, he's actually quoting things in Deuteronomy or Leviticus. Okay, he's quoting things in the first 5 books of the Bible. A lot of times, he's just quoting scripture, right? And so he saw how people were all off track, caught up in the religiosity, and he was just saying, "You're missing the mark here. You're missing the mark here. This is what the point is. This is what the point is." I want to say to you, whether you're Christian or not, and by the way, Christians and Jews both do a good job of feeling like they're the only chosen people. Regardless of what your religious background might be, try showing some love and compassion and understanding to the other person who might not see things that quite the same way as you. And maybe you're a person who's been on the spiritual path for a long time. Try not to be quite so spiritually arrogant, Because guess what? Arrogance, there's nothing spiritual about being arrogant. That's just ego at work. EGO. Part of you that's trying to edge God out. Yeah. The more you learn, the smarter your ego gets too. So you got to be consciously mindful, right? I love you all. I'm thankful for you and for your life. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in to this week's Sunday Hope and Healing session. I I pray that beautiful memories are created for you. I've been experiencing some beautiful memories. There are times I'm here with my niece, two nieces. The niece that's out of the country, and the niece who lives where I'm visiting here. They're sisters. They just met each other for the first time because the older niece lives in South Africa. She was born in South Africa. That's where she's lived her whole life. I'm here. I'm a guy. Let me tell you. Generally speaking, I'd have absolutely zero interest whatsoever in sitting in a place where somebody's getting their hair braided. But there are times I'm sitting here talking with my niece, and I just get the hugest grin on my face. My niece isn't even talking about anything in particular at the moment. It doesn't even matter whatever she's talking about. I have this moment of thinking, this is my niece that I haven't seen since she was 3 years old, and we're face to face having an in-person conversation right now. Look at God and what God can do. The fact that we're even having the conversation is a miracle. There are a lot of things that for many years prevented that from being able to happen. And young lady, this young went out, and apparently my camera went out when a call was coming in. Apologies for that. I remember many Christmases where I didn't have access to even communicate with her, where her dad didn't have access to be able to communicate with her, where my parents or grandparents didn't have access to be able to communicate with her, where my siblings, her aunts and uncles didn't have a way of communicating with her. And to be able to sit here with her in person and have an exchange, the most beautiful Christmas gift manifesting in that way. And yet the giver of the gift is more important. even more important. Anyway, I went a little longer than I actually expected to go today. But I do hope that you've gotten something out of this that you find to be of of, of value for you today. Curly Conscious King said, walking heavy today in this message. Well, I tell you what, I I don't have all of life's answers figured out. I haven't. I'm a person who's always had a lot of questions. That's how I came into this world. My mother was sharing a story last night of when I was way too young to consciously recall. And it was pointed out that I was always an explorer. I was always a seeker. I was always one who was looking for understanding. Um, and I am that way now. By the grace of God, I have some understanding. What makes sense to me, some things that make sense to me now. And they've given me peace and they've given me a sense of empowerment. And I'm very thankful that I've been blessed to experience that. Not all the way there, but certainly very thankful for where it is that I am. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be able to share that to the degree that it might be able to help somebody else or be a blessing in somebody else's life in some way. right? And so, um, the currently conscious king says this needs a part two as well. And currently conscious king, I've not forgotten what you said about your request about doing something before the end of the year for the Transcending the Matrix people. We will do that, and I'll be putting out notification where that's concerned. Just a lot's been going on, obviously, with my niece being in town and such. Um, but be on the lookout for that. I'll be putting out communication regarding that. But I hope that this season finds you well. May you all experience bountiful, bright blessings for Christmas. I pray that the things that you have given from your heart are well received by those whom you're giving them to. I pray that whatever it is that you receive are things that you can appreciate. I notice I didn't say that you receive whatever you want. I said I hope that whatever you receive are things that you can appreciate. What I'm talking about is less about the thing as I'm talking about your mindset. Remember, appreciation is one of those four keys to resolve any problem. Appreciation, love, forgiveness. Appreciation, love, forgiveness. Well, I'm leaving out one. Love, appreciation, love, appreciation, forgiveness, and acceptance. And acceptance. That was the one. Yeah. Anyway, God bless you all. I love you. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy Kwanzaa if you celebrate it. Happy New Year. Bountiful, bright blessings to you all. And I pray that you are able to be an embodiment of peace, an embodiment of love, an embodiment of joy and cheer. And even if you're not, that you might find your way to the source of that love and that peace and that joy. All right. God bless you. I love you. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Peace and love.